In the heart of Central America, there's a fortress unlike any other, surrounded by watchtowers, steel gates, and armed guards. It holds the most dangerous men in the country: murderers, extortionists, and warlords. This is CECOT, the mega prison in El Salvador, a place not built to reform them, but to punish them. Welcome to the Terrorism Confinement Center. Welcome to hell. Let us begin by exploring the Republic of El Salvador, a small yet densely populated nation nestled in the heart of Central America. Despite its size, El Salvador plays a significant role in the region's social and political landscape. Its capital, San Salvador, is the largest city in the country's political, cultural, and economic center. Geographically, El Salvador is bordered by the Pacific Ocean to the west, Guatemala to the north, and Honduras to the east. Its far eastern edge touches the Gulf of Fonseca, directly across from Nicaragua. For decades, El Salvador was held hostage by some of the world's most dangerous gangs. The Salvadoran gangs, commonly known as maras, are violent criminal groups that originated in the 1970s and 1980s. Initially, these gangs were formed by Salvadoran immigrants in Los Angeles seeking protection from other gangs. Over time, they evolved into powerful criminal organizations with networks spreading across the globe, including the United States and Central America. The two most notorious and dangerous gangs are MS-13, Mara Salvatrucha, one of the largest and most feared gangs in El Salvador, known for its extreme violence and intense rivalry with the gang Barrio 18. Barrio 18, another major gang in El Salvador. What started as a street gang in Los Angeles grew into a multinational, multi-ethnic criminal organization. Today, it is considered the largest gang in Los Angeles and is particularly active in Mexico and Central America. The group is estimated to have more than 65,000 members, with tens of thousands located in Los Angeles County alone. It shares a long and bloody history of conflict with MS-13. Members of these gangs are heavily tattooed, armed, and rule the streets through violence and intimidation. Salvadoran gangs were responsible for a dramatic rise in crime across the country. They expanded their influence and generated revenue through drug trafficking, kidnapping, and extortion. The gangs imposed fees on local residents, forcing them to comply with their rules under constant threat of violence. Gang-related violence triggered a massive displacement of the population, with many Salvadorans fleeing the country in search of safety. Economically, the impact was devastating. Businesses were extorted, investments were blocked, and the overall economic environment suffered greatly. Politically, the gangs also exerted influence by preventing certain political candidates from campaigning in neighborhoods under their control. Gang leaders even claimed they could influence or decide the outcome of elections. As a result of this widespread violence, El Salvador recorded one of the highest homicide rates in the world, peaking at 103 murders per 100,000 people in 2015. By 2019, El Salvador was facing one of the highest crime rates in the world. Murder, robbery, extortion, and gang affiliation have become part of everyday life for its citizens. The two most infamous gangs, MS-13 and Barrio 18, effectively controlled the streets. They enforced their own laws and carried out executions against anyone who defied them, with little to no fear of law enforcement. Amid this escalating breakdown of public security, the state struggled to maintain control, and public trust in official institutions had reached an all-time low. In June 2019, Nayib Bukele, a 37-year-old political outsider, rose to power. Previously the mayor of San Salvador, Bukele did not come from a traditional political background. He represented a new generation of leaders who used technology and social media to connect directly with the people. Bukele quickly began to chart a non-traditional course, especially when it came to national security. In November 2021, a wave of violence swept across El Salvador, leaving more than 40 people dead in just 3 days. That same year, the country recorded 1,140 gang-related homicides. Then, between March 25th and 27th, 2022, El Salvador witnessed a brutal massacre. Gang members killed 87 people, including 62 on March 26th alone, making it the deadliest day in the country's history since the end of the Civil War in 1992. This event marked a critical turning point, prompting President Bukele to take bold and unprecedented action. The very next day, the president declared a state of emergency, issuing a decree that suspended several constitutional rights, including freedom of assembly, the right to be informed of the reasons for arrest, and the right to a speedy trial. Security forces, backed by the military, launched massive operations across the country, especially in neighborhoods known for high gang presence. Within a matter of months, tens of thousands were arrested. The total number of detainees reached approximately 55,000. A significant portion of those detained were never formally charged with any specific crime, raising serious concerns among human rights organizations, both locally and internationally. But President Bukele remained unwavering in his position. He stated, "We're not dealing with ordinary people. We're dealing with terrorists. These individuals do not deserve compassion." Despite sharp criticism from organizations such as Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, the overwhelming majority of Salvadorans expressed full support for the president's actions. Many said that, for the first time in years, they felt safe in the streets, now free from the daily sight of bodies and the visible control once exerted by gangs. Due to the massive number of arrests, President Bukele announced the construction of a new prison with the capacity to hold 40,000 inmates. It was named the Terrorism Confinement Center, known by its Spanish acronym CECOT, to house detainees arrested during the anti-gang crackdown. CECOT was built by three companies, Omni, DISA, and Contratista General de America Latina, SA de CV, and completed in just 7 months at a total cost of $100 million. By the time CECOT officially opened in January 2023, the Salvadoran government had already arrested more than 62,000 suspected gang members. On February 1st, 2023, President Bukele shared a video on Twitter showing himself, the director of the National Civil Police, the Minister of National Defense, and the Minister of Public Works touring the new facility ahead of its opening. Later that month, he released another video showing 2,000 prisoners, all with shaved heads and wearing only white athletic shorts, being transferred into the prison. President Bukele went on to publish similar videos of prisoner transfers again in March 2023. The Terrorism Confinement Center spans 57 acres, with the Salvadoran government overseeing an additional 350 acres surrounding the facility. It is located in the Tecoluca municipality, within a remote region of San Vicente Department. The prison is designed to hold up to 40,000 inmates, divided across 8 cell blocks, each covering an area of 6 acres. In April 2025, President Nayib Bukele announced his intention to double the prison's capacity to 80,000 inmates. The facility is secured by 19 watchtowers, 2 layers of 9-meter-high walls that are 60 centimeters thick and topped with barbed wire, 2 electric fences, and gravel-covered ground designed to make every footstep audible. Each of the 256 cells can house up to 156 inmates. The cells are equipped with 4-tier metal bunk beds, but no mattresses or sheets, and contain only 2 toilets and 2 sinks. The cells are illuminated with lights 24 hours a day. Each cell is equipped with closed-circuit surveillance cameras, and armed guards monitor every cell. Solitary confinement cells can hold inmates for up to 15 days and are equipped only with a concrete bed, a toilet, and a sink. The solitary cells are completely dark except for a small hole in the ceiling that allows some light inside. The CECOT Center houses 600 soldiers and 250 police officers. Belarmino Garcia is the prison director. Recreational areas are provided for the prison staff, such as a dining hall, a break room, and a gym. Everyone who enters the prison is subjected to a physical search and an X-ray scan. Medical staff are present on-site and provide all necessary assistance to inmates within the prison grounds. In February 2023, President Bukele released a striking video showing the transfer of 2,000 inmates, each with a shaved head and dressed only in white athletic shorts, being moved to the facility. Among them was inmate Miguel Antonio, a notorious hitman affiliated with the Mara gang. He had been convicted of multiple crimes, including murder, kidnapping, and torture, and was sentenced to 269 years in prison. Also in the group was Mario Prada, who had been found guilty of the brutal murder of a schoolgirl in 2012, alongside several other serious offenses. Inside the prison, all inmates wear identical white uniforms and have their heads shaved every 5 days. Inmates are only allowed out of their cells for 30 minutes a day, either for exercise, Bible study, virtual court hearings, or to be placed in solitary confinement. They are not allowed access to education, entertainment, visitation, or phone calls. Meals consisting of rice, beans, eggs, and pasta are provided, but no utensils are given as they could be used as weapons. The Salvadoran government has no plans to release any inmate from the Center for Confinement of Terrorism, CECOT. The Minister of Justice and Public Security has stated that those imprisoned inside CECOT will never return to their communities. Despite the overwhelming public support within El Salvador for the construction of this prison and the harsher sentences, the international community did not remain silent. Human rights organizations such as Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International voiced deep concern over the conditions of confinement, describing the maximum security facility as a prison operating outside the bounds of humanitarian law. In one of its reports, Amnesty International stated, "What is happening inside El Salvador's prison constitutes a clear violation of the Geneva Conventions and international human rights standards. Torture and total isolation can never be justified, regardless of the crimes committed." But the Salvadoran government, led by President Nayib Bukele, responded firmly to these criticisms. According to official statements, the state views the safety of its citizens as far more important than the comfort of criminals. The prison was portrayed as a powerful tool of deterrence, with statistics showing a dramatic drop in crime rates, over 80% since the beginning of the mass arrest campaign. Public opinion polls revealed that President Bukele's approval rating had soared past 86%, one of the highest levels of support in modern Latin American history. Residents now say they can walk the streets at night without fear of gunfire, extortion, or threats. From behind the walls of El Salvador's prison, we've learned that security and freedom are two sides of the same coin, and the final judgment lies in your eyes. What do you think? See you in the next story. Goodbye.